but now you see a team with a lot of young players who we don't know how far they can go with their careers. And I think that's been the head scratcher because, as you mentioned, the other teams that we've seen have gone through this in one way or another. We've seen the Blues do this a couple of times. We saw the football Cardinals and the Rams go through this. And it's something that we said, okay, that's too bad for them. And now when it falls in your lap, you're saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, how do we get here? And there's a lot of different reasons on how you got here. The question is, how do you get out? I like what I'm hearing. I haven't seen it all yet. But I still think we're still in that evaluation period about, okay, can he help us? Can he make a better player? Is he a winning player? Is he a component or is he the core? And so those are the things you're going through now. And now that we're at September 2nd, probably can make a list out for you on what I think.
I think we've seen enough runway and we've seen, abort and we've seen crashes. We've seen it all.
A couple of Maydays that have taken place.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I wonder, with the way the Cardinals are set up now and the market size, I think rational people understand that they aren't going to spend like the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees. And it's going to be hard to keep players and consist. My point is this, and I wanted to get your take on this about a salary cap. I think the only way that baseball can have a franchise like the Cardinals or the Twins or the Pirates consistently compete is by having a salary cap.
I agree.
In football, you've got the cap and you've got the Chiefs every year. You've got the Steelers every year. You've got the Vikings every year having an opportunity, and you don't get an advantage from being a large market team because of the national revenue sharing and the equality with which teams can spend. Yeah. Do you think that could or should happen in baseball?
Yeah, I think it should. I think here's the challenge, though. You have to make sure your TV situation is set up properly, because when you look at the NFL and the TV money that they reel in, the NBA, they do the same thing. You have not only a national TV concern, but you also have a local TV concern. And so once you get that squared away, I think now the players that have a better understanding on what money is available compared to just pulling a number out of the sky. And that's where I think we're at now, where everybody's like, well, we want our money, but we don't even know where the money's coming from, because different teams had different local agreements on what their revenue was going to look like. And some teams or some companies just walked away from certain teams. So that's got to be defined first. Because as we've looked at the other sports who have a salary cap, every one of those sports has grown exponentially with regard to revenue and players getting paid. Now, the NHL doesn't have the revenue stream that the NBA or the NFL has, but you know what? Those guys are making top dollar in their industry.
Yeah.
And that's something to be said. Now, they have a couple of teams that may struggle gate-wise, and they're more Canadian teams than they are teams in the U.S., But, when it's all said and done, I think it's been best for them. I know it's better for the NFL.
And Edmonton, back-to-back Stanley Cup Finals appearances, right?
Yeah.
If we didn't have a salary cap, they would have no chance.
None. And when you look at the cap, and let's just say if we have it in baseball, I mean, you look at the teams you mentioned, the Dodgers and the big money teams, but, Tampa has shown a way to find postseason play. There have been some other teams, because you know what they've been able to do? They've been able to develop internal pitching. They've been able to grow players within their own organization. All those years they may have been picking anywhere between 1 and 10. They've been able to develop a structure on how to get those kids ready closer to the big leagues, compared to some teams who draft late in the draft and they think, well, he'll be here someday. Yeah, no, I don't think today, though. And I'll give you another one. When I look at the Baltimore Orioles, this is a team that was losing 100 games as if it was, they were going to get a trophy for it. And I thought that they would be further along now. Now they have to make some decisions, because you know what they didn't do enough of? They didn't develop pitching. And if you don't develop pitching within your own organization, it's hard to win, man.
And if you're going to give up assets, and Corbin Burns is in the last year of his contract, you've got to sign him.
Yes.
You cannot allow assets like Corbin Burns to walk out the door. And they let a couple of pitchers walk away. They probably, even though he didn't pitch well for them, Jack Flaherty's going to pitch the second game of a playoff. He started the last game of a World Series last year. They could have kept Flaherty in Baltimore if they would have wanted to, and they didn't. And they've just gone about the rebuilding process in the worst way. And that's what the Cardinals need to do. What you need to do is identify your star players and then keep them. And Baltimore hadn't done that.
They haven't, and it looks like they're going to go through that phase one more time. And I think you're right about what the Cardinals have to do is, all right, who is Mason Wynn? Who is Brendan Donovan? You know, how much can they help us build? I mean, you have some other players that you've seen, and they seem like they've been here for 5 or 8 years, and you still don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So you have to make a definitive decision on, okay, this is who he is, and this is how we see him helping the team. Or you say, this is as far as he can go. We may be able to get something for him, and maybe he goes somewhere else and has a successful career. And, you know, that happens. That happens a lot. So when that does take place, you just have to move on from it. You're not going to get every deal right, and every player is not going to turn out to be an all-star.
All right, we're going to get to your chats, but a couple more things. Number one, I got a text from a mutual friend of ours yesterday asking, is this rock bottom during the 11-3 loss? And I said, well, we are 2-4 against the Rockies. But yesterday was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was. Listening to Sonny talk after the game, he felt like his stuff was good, but he stayed in the middle of the plate a little too much. And I think for a veteran team or a team that's not free swingers, Sonny's probably going to dominate them.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys jump off the bus and they just want to swing the bat. 45% of their scoring comes from the home run. They have 4 guys with over 20, and 2 of them probably will hit 30. So you have to be conscious of the fact that it's kind of like when you're a veteran going back to minors for rehab, and you start pitching to those free swinging youngsters, and all of a sudden you just whack, and you like, wait a minute, I worked at the big league. Well, we're not at the big league, and I think that's one of the things you have to be careful of.
And he was so good the first time through the order too. Second time through the order, yeah, he did. He got ambushed a lot, and you're right about that team. They starting with Jacob Wilson, but the whole gang, they just swing the bat, and it's fun. I don't know if long term it's sustainable, but it's fun to watch for a day.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if they get a little pitching, like the young man they had throw yesterday, Luis Morales, I thought he was really good. Now, granted, first time you've seen him, but his sweeper was working. He's touching 97, 99 on the fastball, and you know, it was impressive. Now, with that said, on the other side of that coin, the Cardinals have done a lot of swinging and missing over the last 2 games. They've struck out 27 times over the last 2 games. Yeah, that's a whole game.
Yeah.
That's 27 outs that all went down on the strikeout.
I got a stat for you. And this is an old-timey stat, so don't kill me for this, but it's fun. So Jordan Walker has struck out 6 times in the last 2 games. It took Stan Musial 8 years of his career to strike out 6 times in a month.
It's frightening. When you think about, and Ali and I have this debate about the impact of a strikeout. I always believe nothing comes from good from a strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to if a guy makes contact, maybe he can move a runner off. Maybe he can get a fly ball. There's a lot of things if you make contact. Yeah. Right. Once you make the other guy handle the ball, something might turn out to be good. So it's one of those things where I just don't see, you know, where the strikeout helps you at all. And I know some people have poo-pooed that stat. I think that's the one stat that doesn't lie, because strikeouts can kill rallies. Strikeouts can create other strikeouts down the road. And it's just one of those things that with all the numbers that we have today, and I rarely admit I don't sift through all of them because I don't need my head exploding over this, but there are certain things, the basics of this game that don't lie. And that's concerning. And now you're going to go with Severino today, who's had his problems, but he's a veteran pitcher. So who knows what's waiting on.
Yeah. By the way, the leading hitter in the National League right now is Trey Turner at 301, Freddie Freeman at 300. And then those are the only 2 that you got at 300 in the
We may have a season this year where no one will hit over 300.
The lowest average for a National League batting champion ever, Tony Gwynn in 1988 at 313. And we might not have a 300 hitter.
It's been an interesting year. It's been a different year for a lot of different reasons, because we've had so many new players come on the scene that we're excited to see. And you have some teams that have had their highs and lows. I don't know if I've ever seen a season where so many alleged good teams had these long streaks, both good and bad.
And I don't know why that is, but there's no consistency.
Not enough pitching.
Yeah, and even the Doyers, right? That you look at them, and because of all the pitching injuries, you never know what you're going to get. Like Emmett Sheehan, you never know what you're going to get out of him. He can go 8 shutout, or he can go
Yeah,
one.
I saw that once.
Yeah, right. Or he can go 1 1/3 and allow 7. And yeah, even the good teams have those issues, and it's really hard. And that's one thing the Cardinals have done really well this year is keeping your pitchers healthy. If you could have really good pitchers that you keep healthy, you're going to win.
Look at the rotation. They haven't missed a start.
No, it's amazing.
John King, I believe, was the first guy from that pitching staff that went on the IL.
And didn't even have an arm injury.
Yeah, exactly. So you tip your cap to the medical staff and the coaching staff and certainly the manager in not overusing guys and putting guys in situations where they're not going to succeed.
Okay. Before we get to the chats, I want to ask you something that I referenced on the TV show a little bit this morning. And that is, I was reading about Julio Urias, suspended by baseball after the 2020 season, after the 2022 season. So he's missed 23, 24. This is 25. And he was going to be a free agent after that year. He has done everything that Major League Baseball has asked him to do in terms of going through rehab. He's 29 years old. He served his penance from a legal standpoint. Is Urias a guy that if you're the Cardinals and you know you need pitching, he's thrown 200 innings in the majors before, do you do that knowing that there's going to be a little blowback?
Yeah, I kick the tires on it. What do you have to lose?
Here's the thing. Are people going to not buy tickets? Because
I mean,
you're already not buying tickets.
You're making an effort, and everybody has made mistakes along the way. 2 years on the shelf, that's a long time for a baseball player. But as you mentioned, at his age, you have to think he has something left. I'm sure somebody's going to stage a workout for him so other teams can take a look at him.
Yeah.
But for a guy with his skill set, I'm definitely kicking the tires.
Yeah. And by the way, it was 23, so he's missed 24 and 25.